Hey, book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ.
And today we are talking about Gilmore Girls again, because we didn't get enough of it the last time we talked about Gilmore Girls. We kind of went a little bit more in depth than we thought we were going to. So we decided to split it up. So now we're doing episodes 8 through 14, right?
I believe so. That's what I'm prepared for.
That's what I prepared for as well.
So
I'm glad we're on the same page.
I know, since we did not confirm, we had said it on the episode that we would do like 3 parts. So, okay, then we're good. We're good.
We're good.
It's all good. Leyna was out of town. And I actually had to be like, wait, this is the Gilmore Girls Part 2 episode.
What are we doing?
Because I'm like, right. And she's like, yes. Because I was like, I am not prepared for anything else at this point. So
it's a good thing that that's what we're doing.
It is a good thing. So I know you were out of town though. So, but still, do you have any updates literary lately? Because we also had Chris on last week, so we didn't talk about literary lately. So
we've had a couple of weeks, and I did finish some books, and I went to Austin. It was our fall break, and so my mom and my daughter and I went to Austin. And we also went to Book People in Austin, which I had never been to before. And Book People, it's a 2-story bookstore. And I've never really been to Austin before.
Which is still crazy to me.
Like, I hadn't done any touristy things. I think that I had gone for a half Ironman twice. And that's like the gist of it. And I had lunch with my brother one time. So we went all over Austin, which was really fun. We did all the touristy things, swam in Barton Springs, which was super cold.
I was like, y'all are crazy. Because I think I went a couple of times when I was a kid. But I definitely remember one time and being like, this is for the birds.
So I remember, because we have gone to New Braunfels to Schlitterbahn, which is like a big water park. And there's like an old part and a new part. And the old part is all like the water is from the Guadalupe River. I believe that's the river that it's from. The cold river. So. It's cold.
The fresh water.
Yes. So it is very cold. And so I had swam in that before, so I knew what I was getting myself into. But now that they have the new part of the park, I always go to the new part. but Barton Springs, it was something that I think that you have to do when you go to Austin. It was fun. Yeah, LJ is making a face. but
not in a long time. But
it was fun. We had a good time.
That's good.
And it's one of those weird things that's like kind of downtownish.
Yeah.
And then there's this little pool area, but it's, from the river, so it's sectioned off. And my daughter loves water. She is a fish. Like she could go swim all the time. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. It's going to be cold, but I don't like swimming with things in the water.
Me neither.
And Barton Springs was a little slippery. Like there was some algae stuff. And my daughter was like, there's nothing in the water, Mom. I looked it up beforehand. There's nothing there. And I'm like, okay, well, there's like a Barton Springs salamander or something. What does that thing eat? Because it has to eat something. I'm sure it's eating water things, and if there's algae, I'm assuming there's fish. Yeah. But she convinced me there wasn't, so we went swimming. But anyway,
oh my gosh, God bless you.
We also went to Book People, and I now want to take you.
Okay, yay! I was going to ask, are we going to do that on our trip in a couple of weeks?
We should definitely do that. And when I was there, because Book People, I don't know if it's like a sponsor of the Texas Book Festival or if they just are closely aligned because they're in the same city. But they had most of the books, if not all of them, out at a big sign for Texas Book Festival. And I was like, oh, I want to go buy all those books. And I was like, no, just wait. I was like, the reality of me being able to read any of these books before we go is pretty slim.
Especially because we've got her hooked on Throne of Glass.
Yes. So I was like, not going to happen, so I'll just wait. But now I have like this whole, on the way back up to Dallas, I was like, okay, when I take LJ down here, I want to stop at Fabled in Waco.
Obviously.
And then I was like, okay, we have to stop and charge my car because it's electric. And I was like, we could stop in Georgetown and go to, I think it's Lark and Owl.
Well, then,
So
yes,
that's
I think
another
we have
bookstore.
to. We have to.
And then we could go to Book People. I was like, this could be like a whole
Yes.
book extravaganza. So,
Oh, I think it
anyway.
needs to be. And funny story, which I think I told Leyna this already. My cousin Leslie, shout out Leslie, who is one of our most avid listeners and so supportive. She volunteered at the Texas Book Festival for service hours, like in high school.
Cool.
So it's so cool. And she still lives in the Austin area. And Leyna, she would love to get dinner with us Saturday night. I don't know what
we should do this.
I was like, definitely. So we're going to try to hook up with my cousin. She was like, you got to, she's like, I understand if you can't. And I'm like, we will see what we can do.
I think we can make that happen.
I think we can. Yeah, because it doesn't go late. It doesn't end at like 5.
I think it's over at 5. But there is, I think, a literary book crawl at different bars that you can go to.
I bet she would come to that.
I was like, maybe that would be something fun we could do.
Yes, love it.
But I have read several books.
Woohoo!
I finished The Enchanting Case of the Spirits and
Me too.
A Charming Touch of Tarot, which were Melissa Holtz's books that she was going to be on the podcast, and then her daughter unfortunately had a knee injury during soccer, so she wasn't able to be on. So, but yeah, we read her books, and I enjoyed them a lot. Like, I thought they were really fun.
I only read the first one, and I agree. I really loved it. I was not sure about the whole paranormal romance thing.
Yes.
I was worried about it being too scary for me, and there were a few scary moments.
Yeah, there's like some poltergeist, but it's not, it's more
It was more of
funny.
It was more of a rom-com.
Yeah.
Or just a comedy, because it was not just about the romance comedy part was just a small part. Her and her quirky friends, like, it was kind of awesome.
Yes. And they're just a fun couple of books. If you're looking for something fun and maybe a little spooky, this is a perfect time for that. But it wasn't like too spooky. It wasn't scary. And then, like you mentioned, I have gotten into my Throne of Glass era.
Yes, she's in her Throne of Glass era.
So I finished Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire, and I'm loving it, taking back everything I've said about Sarah J. Maas. I wish that I had read Throne of Glass first before I read ACOTAR, because then maybe I would, or even Crescent City. I hesitate with Crescent City because the first book just drops you right into the middle of the story.
Gosh, right?
And you're like, what is happening? But Throne of Glass, definitely. And I was like, I can see this having a wider audience. Like, I can see men liking this. Not that men can't like ACOTAR or things like that, but I see this being, it's not so much about the sex and the romance. It's more about the rebellion and all of that. So
the plot, yeah.
Yes.
And what I think it is that for whatever reason, A Court in Thorns and Roses, because it reached a broader audience, I think it hit at the right time with women, that it's the one that became. And I think to this day, if you ask people, have you heard of Throne of Glass, Crescent City, ACOTAR, they're going to say they know ACOTAR if they're not into fantasy. And so I think that's probably why, which is why Emily discovered it first. And then it's so funny to me because she like really downplayed, like she didn't like be like, you have to read this now, because she didn't want to build it up too much. She's like, I had to wait 6 months before you finally decided to read that series. And then after that, we're like, oh, she has these other ones. And that's kind of how we got here. But that was our introduction as well.
Yeah, I'm currently reading Queen of Shadows, so on book 4, and I was telling my husband, because we were talking about reading the second book in the Mistborn series, and because we had gotten them, and I was like, I haven't started. He's like, I haven't started either, and I'm like, well, I have like 3 more books of Throne of Glass series to go. So I was like, in maybe like 1,800 pages, I can start this other 700-page book.
Right.
But and then I also did a couple of spooky books, A House with Good Bones, which was the Southern Gothic.
Okay.
Really fun. And it did have some scary moments. And it was a shorter book, but it was really well done.
Okay.
And I saw the cover. The cover looked really cool. It had like some vultures, and the vultures are featured in the story. It was really well done, but the vultures on the cover, it kind of turns into
it's pretty.
It's a good cover. It's a good cover. It's spooky. I would recommend reading that one, A House with Good Bones. And then I also read The Sinners All Bow.
Okay.
Which I'm interested to see if you would like, because it's a true crime story. Not story.
What's the name of it?
Nonfiction. The Sinners All Bow.
These sinners, all y'all know I got my notebook where I'm like writing stuff
writing
down.
things down.
So the
So
sinners all bow.
The author. She's actually going to be with Killer Story.
Oh yes, Claire Sanema.
With Claire Sanema at the Texas Book Festival, and so that's where I had heard about this, and I was like, I'm going to go read her book and see what it's about. But it is a present day author who does true crime books. And she's going back to the original Hester Prynne story, Scarlet Letter, that the Nathaniel Hawthorne book was based off of. So you're hearing about her murder, and, well, it's up for debate. It could be a murder. It could be suicide. So that's kind of the up for debate part.
Okay.
But the author is using historical records, and then she's also using a book that was written, was supposedly the first true crime book in America.
Oh!
And so she says that it's her co-author. So her co-author wrote this book in the early I think it was 1830s.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's so cool.
She's using the actual records of the criminal cases and the court records, but then also using this woman's book as her, like, it was really fun to kind of think about how a true crime author in the 1830s might look at things versus now. And I mean, it was a really interesting read. I thought it was really well done.
I gotta do this one, man. So this is really funny because there's going to be multiple connections to Taylor Swift's new album as I talk about things for the rest of the fall. But I just got a connection to that because, like you said, her co-author is the author from the 1830s, right? Okay, so on Taylor Swift's new album, she has a song called Father Figure, and it's a nod to George Michael. Well, she listed him as a co-author rather than sampling the song because he never got ownership back of his masters. So by listing him as a co-author, his family, his estate actually gets the royalties. Isn't that cool?
That is cool. Now, I have not listened to the new Taylor Swift album. I know I'm like way behind.
Okay, Leyna, just wait. Well, you know what? Just put that on pause. We can listen to it. It's only 42 minutes. We can listen to it.
The whole thing is 42 minutes?
It's a short album.
Wow.
It's like her next to shortest album. So we can listen on the way down.
Okay.
And you can give me your opinions. And wherever you are in Throne of Glass series, if you haven't finished, we can listen. I will probably be done by then, but I will gladly listen with you in the car too, because I love it so much. Anyway, so back to you though. But I realized that this author from the 1830s, I think that would be out of it's in the public domain now because of how many years. But
I don't know. I didn't look to see if her book was available. That would be interesting.
It's probably out of print.
To read. Yeah. But it was a good book. And then I have officially hit 106 books that I have read.
Look at you!
So that's the most books I've ever read in a single year. And
wow.
It is only mid-October, so there is a high probability that this will be the highest. Well, high probability. This will be, unless I don't finish the two books I'm currently reading, which is Queen of Shadows, and then I'm also reading The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. And that one, I have a feeling it's going to be really good. Like
that's cool.
I'm about 25% in, and it's really good so far. So.
Dang. Well, I've only read 84 books this year, Leyna. So you have.
Dang.
I know. Well, the fall hit. We've talked about this.
The fall hit. You have done a lot of stuff, and then you've also done all the homecoming stuff too.
Yeah. So it's been a busy fall. It's picking back up now. But yeah. Anything else literary lately?
That's it. But it was a lot.
It was a lot. That was good. So yeah. All right. Well. We already mentioned I also read An Enchanting Case of Spirits by Melissa Holtz. I finished since we last talked, I read the entirety of Queen of Shadows, which is what the fourth book, which is what Leyna's in. I also read The Intruder by Frida McFadden, and if you've been paying attention this year, I read two others, and they kind of were duds for me. But this one I actually really enjoyed. I gave it 5 stars. And the story of this one is like there's this woman that kind of lives off the grid, like out in the woods. I mean, she's not completely cut off from society. Like, she goes to town. She has like a neighbor like a mile away or something. She has a landlord. But there's like a major storm coming and she sees something outside and she goes to check and there is like a 12, 13-year-old girl trying to take shelter in her shed that's like she's afraid the storm is going to like destroy the shed. And so she convinces the girl to come in and she realizes the girl is covered in blood and is gripping a knife. And that's all I'm going to tell you because you got to read it because it's on Kindle Unlimited. It's not super long, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's a good one for spooky season too because living out in the country, this woman is and she doesn't have a cell phone. So she just has a landline and the power and the phone lines like always go out when there's a storm. So she's prepared. Like she has lots of candles and stuff. Like, and she doesn't have a TV. Like she really wanted to get out there
be off the grid.
Be off the grid and just live her life. And so anyway, but it's really good. It's really good. I really liked it. There's a good twist. Then I read Crooked House by Agatha Christie, which I had read before, and it's one that I did remember the ending of this one because
it's not always the case for you.
Not always the case, but this is a standout one, and this is technically our book club pick for October. And I say it's one of her best. And
okay.
I mean,
I have not started it yet.
Okay,
I need to.
It's a good one, and I will say like the backstory of this is like there's this wealthy family, the patriarch dies, and it's like, is it like old age or is it murder? And I feel like Knives Out was partially inspired by this. The plot is not the same, but there are some similar elements. The main thing that it's kind of the same is if you've watched Knives Out, the nurse accidentally gives an overdose of insulin, right? And the guy was supposed to get an injection of insulin, but instead was injected with like poison. And so that's how they discover it had to be murder. But there's a huge cast of characters. We got all the quirky, like sons, wives, grandchildren. And so it makes it fun because there's a whole cast of characters that you're like, everyone
who did it. Yeah.
Like
everyone
has a motive. So then I also read Sparkling Cyanide by Agatha Christie. And this is one my mom has been begging me for years to read because she really liked it. And I'm just going to read the short blurb because I think it says I would be too wordy trying to explain it. So 6 people sit down to a sumptuous meal at a table laid for 7. In front of the empty space is a sprig of rosemary for remembrance, a strange sentiment considering no one is likely to forget the night exactly a year ago that Rosemary Barton died at exactly the same table, her beautiful face unrecognizable, convulsed with pain and horror. But then Rosemary had always been memorable. She had the ability to arouse strong passions in most people she met, in one case, strong enough to kill. And so it's another one with, like, there are a lot of characters. Every single person has a motive to kill her.
Yeah.
And so I had I did my thing where I committed to a character, but then I had 2 backups and none of them were it. So,
interesting.
So it was good. Now, when the big reveal happened, I will say I was like, I remembered a couple of times in the book where I was like, there was a detail that I was like, is that important? Or am I reading something into that that's not there? And I thought maybe that's a red herring. Well, it turns out those were not red herrings. But it was really good. So I really enjoyed it. It's another good one. And then I am right now reading 3 things, technically.
gosh.
Okay. I'm tandem reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, which I was not originally planning to. And then Leyna brought up how she had heard that people do that. And I started thinking, because the first time through I did not. I read Empire of Storms, which I will tell you, Leyna, is the worst what's it called? Cliffhanger of any book that I've ever read.
The absolute do not like cliffhangers.
And I do not. And it is the worst one. And then Tower of Dawn is about the people that were not present. Like they divide at the end of book 4. And so 5 and 6 are completely separate until the very end of 6. And so I can only imagine waiting for these books to come out and knowing after book 5 that there's this horrible cliffhanger, and then you get book 6 and you're like, wait a minute. Yeah, 800 pages and probably another year.
My gosh.
So I wasn't going to tandem read, and then I started thinking about it because I did tandem read when I first reread them, and I was like, you know what, we're going to do it. So I am 20% into Empire of Storms, which is 13 chapters in, and 21% into Tower of Dawn. And like the next few chapters that I'll be reading will be back in Empire of Storms. So I have like a
I
printout.
have to
And
figure out if I'm going to tandem read or if I'm going to wait for this cliffhanger. And
if you want the true experience, wait for the cliffhanger and just
okay.
suffer. I will tell you, when Emily and I read these books, I was so pissed off when I got to the end of that. When I got into the end of that book and then started the next one, I'm like, are you kidding me? I actually set the series aside for an
Oh
entire
my gosh.
week. An
'Cause
entire
you
week,
couldn't.
Leyna, because I was mad. I'm like, I could have already finished that book and been on to the next one, but to the last one, but still I did it. I was so pissed off. But anyway, so I am tandem reading because I was like, do you want to do this? So it's fine. And then I am listening to an audiobook because I had pre-ordered it. The She Kills The Murderous Socialite, The Cross-Dressing Bank Robber, and Other True Crime Tales by Skip Hollandsworth. And he will be at the Texas Book Festival. So I started that. The first chapter was about the cross-dressing bank robber. And so here's the thing. He wrote for Texas Monthly. I listened to another true crime compilation of Texas Monthly, and there was one about the cross-dressing bank robber. And I feel like this story might have been told a little differently, but I doubt it. It has to be the same one because they basically like read the article in the book. So I think it was the same one. But it was interesting. Like I didn't mind re-listening to it because it's such a cool story. And I do so far highly recommend if you want local Texas crimes, like if you either read this one or do there's at least one Texas Monthly where it's like got 4 cases, 4 of their stories in one and I think that one is only audiobook, that the way they compiled it. And it's interesting because like I mean I feel like we know some, but I mean we got things like Kennedy being shot is like overshadows, like everyone's like that's the worst crime that happened in Texas, or Bonnie and Clyde, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are
Which
also
I always forget Bonnie and Clyde happened in Texas. Like they're
I
buried
know.
in Texas. They're buried close to
Right.
where we live, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's funny, but I will tell you, listening, it's weird to hear all the places because the bank robber lived all over DFW. So it's like Garland, okay, maybe like Fort Worth. Okay, now we're over here in Dallas. And I'm just like, this is so wild. But anyway, it's good. That's what I'm also listening to. So that is all I've got. But I was just so impressed that I finished. Let's see how many books I finished since we last caught up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What?
That's a lot.
I've read a lot in October. Look at me go.
Yeah. After you had like kind of a slower August and September, right?
Yep.
So
anyway. All right, we ready to get into
a good
Gilmore
feeling.
Girls?
Let's get into it.
All right. We're picking up with episode 8, Love and War and Snow.
This one I thought
you probably
was so
hated
funny.
this one. Oh, I thought you were going to say you didn't like
funny.
Well, the reason I say that is because you don't love Max. So I was like
that part, I mean, so Max shows up, his car is broken down, and
there's a snowstorm.
I put in my notes here. Yeah, it's like the first snow of the season, and Lorelai loves the first snow. And I put in Max calls, and he leaves a message, and it's like, oh right, Lorelai has a love interest, because I feel like they do this back and forth thing where they'll do like an episode where he's there, and then a couple episodes where he's not, and then an episode where he's there, and then a couple episodes, and I'm like, oh yeah, she likes someone. They're in this relationship. Yeah.
It's true. So so there's a snowstorm. Rory ends up staying at her grandparents because it's not safe to take the bus home. And Lorelai's so enchanted by the snow. Max's car broke down, right? Is that what it was? And then, Lorelai's already in a romantic mood because of the snow. I mean, I get it.
I get it. Magical things happen.
Yes, and they did. And so they kind of go on a date through town, right? Didn't they go to a movie?
Yes, they go to the movies they go to a couple different times
places,
throughout the series.
Yeah.
Well, throughout the series, they go to this movie theater, and it's like an old-timey movie theater, and they bring their own food, and it's just kind of funny. But that's the first time I think that we see that, and it's just like a romantic night.
Yes, it was sweet. And it would have ideally been a perfect thing, because for them to even get to have a date, and which it was a very PG date ultimately, But
Yes.
like, even with him coming over and hanging out, it was good because Rory wasn't there. And what it made me think of is when I first was dating after the divorce, like my daughter, I met my ex-boyfriend while my daughter was at camp. And so then she came back from camp. And so I told him, like, I'm probably not going to be available for the next few days. But then my daughter gets home and she's like, oh, like an hour later, can I go to so-and-so's slumber party? And it's like, okay. So then I, got to hang out with him again. And the next day she was doing stuff. And so it was kind of like I could kind of date and like maybe keep my kids out of it. But then, of course, my daughter also always tracks me. So I get home.
She's like, where are you, Mom?
So I get home from a date on a Sunday and she's beaten me home, even though it was like 10 o'clock when I got home. And she had like gone out with her dad or something. She's like, so, Mom, who is he? Anyway, but it was cute. This made me think of that. But then something gets in the way or someone.
And this is the part that I thought was really funny.
It was.
It's the whole... So Lane gets in the way of their date. And it starts out earlier in the day whenever Lane and Rory are walking basically to the school.
Yeah.
And the bus stop.
Yeah.
And Rory is not paying attention to Lane at all. Like,
no.
And this is where I'm like, you're not a good friend, Rory.
She wasn't a good friend to Lane. And Lane called her out for it, too. And Lane was not wrong.
She was not wrong. And Lane has a crush on a boy that she's known since like kindergarten. And at one point, she reaches down and touches his hair and like caresses his hair. It's someone that she's in.
But this is after. This is after she and Rory separate.
After they separate, they go their separate ways. She sees the guy and she like pets him. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, you can't pet someone, honey.
No.
Like, no. And then she runs away. It made me laugh because it made me think of whenever Rory and Dean kiss for the first time. And then she runs away and steals the...
Yeah.
Yeah. So it made me, I was like, these girls and their awkward first love, like this is just very awkward first loves.
Yeah.
And
I know. And then, she runs to Rory's house to wait for Rory.
And Rory's not there because Rory is stuck in her grandparents.
Yeah, in Hartford.
And then that's funny because the cook can't come.
Oh my gosh!
Grandma's like, "What are we gonna do? We're gonna starve." And Rory's like, "Well, you have this frozen pizza," and so they make frozen pizza, and it's just hilarious that they're like, "Frozen pizza. This is so weird," and they have
then they loved
concept, and they love it, and they're like, "We should have this more often."
It's so funny. It's so funny, yeah.
So there were several like really funny moments in that.
I mean, I feel like there were such cute grandparent moments with Rory, like where we got to see, because like I do think Richard and Emily act differently with Rory when Lorelai's not there, because I do think Lorelai makes them on edge. Like Lorelai almost inhibits them or prevents them from being able to dote on Rory in the way that they can.
They want to, yeah. And there's a lot, there's a lot of hurt feelings there because we even see that Rory finds some pictures of her mom and dad and a photo album.
Yeah.
That has a lot of pictures of her mom. So she takes it down and shows it to her grandparents. And one of them is her mom in her coming out dress for her coming out party. But it turns out she didn't get to be a debutante because she was pregnant. And then that brings up a lot. Like they just shut down after they see that picture because it brings up such bad memories. But it was
good.
A good episode. It revealed a little bit more about each character because we're still pretty early in.
We are
only episode 8. It's revealing more about their character and what they find important and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then, so then we fast forward to the next morning. This is what does not make sense to me, but you've lived places with snow. So like Rory gets back home at like 8 a.m. the next morning. And I'm like, okay, but they're talking coming from Hartford, which is not that huge of a place, to this tiny Stars Hollow. Like, did they plow that quickly for her to get home? Because I'm like, it would take a while, I would think.
So they'll run the snowplows overnight. When I lived in Spokane, like they would just run them overnight and they would do major arterials first.
Okay.
So they would do the freeway. They would start salting all of that before it even started snowing. Like they would spray and salt and all that. So there was a good chance that that is an accurate thing, and they would have the snow plows like plowing the roads. That being said, we would usually just kind of hunker down if we
and not
could.
go
Like
anywhere,
if we didn't have to be anywhere, but there were times that like I got to go to work, so we would just shovel our car out and go. All the memories.
All the memories. I know. Yes.
So I can see that happening. I was a little surprised that she got up and came right away in the morning that early, but it could happen. And the Northeast, they're prepared for that. I will say that. Like they have the plows. In Texas, we would be like, I'm not leaving my house for a week.
I mean, we've literally done that in the last few years.
Yes.
But that was not even by choice. Like,
yes.
We don't have the capabilities to
do any of
the even the treatment they do on the freeways and stuff, like here, it's not enough for
for serious. And we get a lot of ice rather than just snow.
Yeah. So it's different.
Which snow, it does. Once you drive over it a few times, it becomes compact ice. So
yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I guess we should move on to the next episode, episode 9, Rory's Dance.
Yes. And this was the first formal dance at Chilton.
Mm-hmm.
And Rory says she doesn't want to go. And Emily's like, you have to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this was, you see Lorelai saying, no, she doesn't have to go. But then whenever they go home, Laura's like, you should really go to this.
Right? She didn't want to agree with her mom.
She didn't want to agree with her mom, but deep down, she wants Rory to go just as much as her mom does. Like,
yeah,
they agree on something, but rather than agree with her parents, she has to, fight against it.
Yep, she did. And so I have to say, Rory inviting Dean felt like such an authentic teenage moment where she's like, I don't know, like she doesn't want to ask, but she doesn't want to be rejected. And I'm like, I was like, oh, if I had to invite like someone like that I'm like, are we dating? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And then, so I felt like that was I felt the awkwardness of the situation and I could see myself doing the exact same thing. So.
And ultimately, Emily does get her way.
Yes.
Because Rory does go to the dance. Lorelai makes a dress for her.
That is the ugliest dress ever.
I know you have strong feelings. We have talked about this before.
It's just like, okay, pretty in pink. You're so excited for her to make the dress. And then it's like, that's what she made? The 50s style dress that Annie Potts' character gave her to edit was better than what she created. Yeah. Like, whatever. Anyway, but yes, no, I think it's so ugly.
I personally don't mind the dress that Lorelai made for her. The boots that Rory is wearing with them, I'm like, no.
Okay.
but she does take them off.
Okay, but you know what else? I can't stand her hair. Her hair also looked awful. Like, no. It was so bad. The hair, the dress didn't fit well. If you're looking at that material, it's very obvious if it does not fit well. And it was like wrinkled, like it was not made well. I don't care. Even though Emily was nice and complimented it and blah, blah, blah. But because Emily did manage to work her way in to come take photos.
Which I thought that was hilarious. The way she like weaseled herself in and she's like, Mom, if you want to come over, you can.
Yeah.
And then Dean shows up. And Rory and Dean had prearranged for Dean to honk and she would go out. And Emily's like, no, you don't go when a man honks at you. You wait for him to come to the door. He meets the parent, then he goes. And so they like literally wait for Dean. It's super awkward. And
it is.
I felt so bad for Dean.
I know. I was like, I totally get that. Like, I understand if like, okay, hey, we would say, hey, my mom or my grandmother wants to take pictures of us. That's different. They did not plan any of that. Emily coming over was very last minute, and they had agreed that this is what he was going to do. And I get it. If it's snow, like his stuff could get messed up, like his shoes and his pants. Like she's got on boots and stuff that she's going to wear out there to get to the car. Like this is not crazy. And so I can understand his frustration. I know I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my, like it, I don't know. I got all anxious about it too. It bothered me so much. So yeah. But it's so Emily.
And Lorelai has hurt her back.
Mm-hmm.
And Emily finds out as soon as Rory and Dean leave. And Suki lets it slip, basically. Because Suki's there too, of course. And Emily's like, well, I'll just stay here and make sure that you're okay. I'll take care of you, which I was like, that is so not an Emily thing to do.
Well, but we also don't know because Lorelai hasn't ever given her the opportunity. Even this, she's like, I'm fine. I don't need you.
She doesn't want to be vulnerable in front of her mom, is I think what it boils down to.
Now,
but
what did her mom
doesn't seem to be very mothering.
No.
She seems to be more critical, too.
Okay, but what was it that she made for her? She's like, oh, you love this. Was it like banana toast something?
It was so gross.
It was so gross.
It was mashed banana on toast.
Okay, yeah, no, that does not sound good.
It sounds horrible. And they take a bite and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad that you said that because that sounds disgusting.
Yeah. I was like, what? And Lorelai's like, I promise I didn't like it. And her mom claims she did, but we don't know. I mean, her mom probably didn't make it if she,
right?
Like,
it was probably the cook.
Yeah. So who knows? But yeah.
And then Dean and Rory go to the dance and everybody looked like they were 30. I was like, how old are these people at this dance? Because nobody looks like they're teenagers. But
and they weren't acting like it really either, because the way like the girls come up and are all like, oh, like checking out her boyfriend. Like, no one does that.
No.
Like, you don't do that. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
You were a chaperone at the homecoming dance. You saw this. That just doesn't happen.
No. Like, it does not happen. Yeah. It doesn't. And then I love that Paris was there with her cousin.
Yes.
And then I don't remember, how did the friends find out? Because she thinks Rory told them and Rory didn't tell them.
Rory didn't say anything.
No.
But Paris says something, and then it's like,
and they overhear it.
You just told everybody.
Yeah. But, okay, that's what it was.
And so, Rory did bring a book to the dance.
Yep.
I don't remember what book it was, but she brought a book to the dance.
I don't either because, and they leave the dance but don't want to go home. So they go to Miss Patty's to hang out and read.
Mm-hmm.
And they fall asleep.
All hell breaks loose.
Because Emily also fell asleep at Lorelai's and wakes up and there's no Rory.
Rory is not there.
No.
And it sets off a panic because even Lorelai gets a little worried.
Yes.
And then Miss Patty shows up, finds Rory and Dean, and then calls Lorelai.
Yes. And I'm just calling BS on the running in your tights in the snow with no shoes on. I'm just
would be so cold.
Like, that you couldn't do it. Like, nice try. But so she runs home. And I will say it's so interesting to me because, I mean, I'm going to have to talk about a scene in a future episode because when Rory gets back and Lorelai like kind of is like, this is my territory, like doesn't like get in with Emily about all that stuff. And then Rory is like, then she goes off on Rory and is all like upset because it's for Lorelai again. It's also for appearances. And she does care what her mom thinks, even though she acts like she
claims
doesn't.
that she doesn't.
She claims that she doesn't. And so what this makes me think of is I believe it's a later episode in season 1 when Christopher returns and they do a dinner with his parents and Lorelai's parents and Rory. And there's a moment where, which we'll talk about that later, where his parents insult Lorelai and her dad defends her and then they leave and everything. And then she goes to talk to her dad to thank him. And he didn't really do it for her either. He did it for appearances. And anyway, so this, I was like, this is such a parallel scene where Lorelai doesn't see how much like Emily she is, how much like her parents.
She does not.
No. And we didn't either when we watched this.
At first.
When I watched this at first, I did not see any of this. And I watched it multiple times before I saw any of this. So, yeah.
So that's kind of how that episode ends, with everyone kind of mad at each other because of how this went down. And Lorelai and Emily are both mad at Rory.
Yes.
And Emily is saying, she's going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
She's sleeping with boys. And it's like, no, she just fell asleep. She was not sleeping with the boy. She fell asleep.
So, yeah, it's different. It's very different. So.
And then we go to episode 10.
Yes. Forgiveness and stuff.
Which they're taking, Christmas is here. There's a Christmas pageant. There's a Christmas party at the Gilmores. There's lots of stuff going on
Mm-hmm.
all at the same time as all of this animosity is still running
Yes.
its course.
So something early on that I have to point out, like when they're giving Christmas presents, Roy got Dean the metamorphosis, which again
Yes.
shows he's smart. He's not the less educated person they make him out to be.
In future seasons,
Yes.
they really, at this point, he's still like, he's reading, Franz Kafka, like that's,
Yeah.
it's a
Right?
good book.
Yeah.
But he's reading, he is, yeah, he's just an intelligent person, and
Mm-hmm.
they did him dirty later on. But
They really did. They really did. So, but yeah, you're right. All this stuff is going on. So Rory gets invited to the Christmas party at her grandparents', but
mhm.
Lorelai does not. Or she does, but she's not
She
going.
doesn't go. She decides not
Okay.
to go.
Okay. So anyway. So yes. So she goes, and what happens, Leyna?
Well, she tries to apologize to Emily.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't go very well.
No.
The biggest thing that happens, though, is that Richard gets flustered
Mm-hmm.
and he walks out of the room and he collapses.
Yeah.
And so they end up at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, there's a unifying thing that's happening that brings everybody back together.
Yes.
And talk about forgiveness. Whenever someone has a medical emergency, it's like, we don't care about what's going on.
Yeah.
Everybody comes and takes care of the person, and that's what they do. And
Yeah.
Lorelai had gone to Luke's diner and was having a Santa burger.
Yeah.
He was making a Santa burger for her. And as soon as Lorelai finds out that her dad's in the hospital, she's panicking.
Yeah.
And Luke's like, okay, everybody out. He's kicking everybody out of the diner, and he's like, I'm taking you to the hospital.
Yes.
And this is just another example of how awesome Luke was. Like, even
Yes.
before we know much about him, he has been there for Lorelai and Rory, and he's being there again. And it's like, I don't care about my business.
Yeah.
We're going. And so he takes her to the hospital, and Emily is peak Emily.
Yes. Yes.
She is yelling at all the doctors and nurses, and she's like, why is my husband not having this done? Like, why can't I get the information that I want? And they're like, we're taking care of him. We're doing the things. And it's Jane Lynch is the nurse.
I know. That's what I love. I'm like, we got Emily and Jane Lynch going toe to toe.
And it was so funny. And then Lorelai shows up, and Emily's like, what are you doing here? And at one point, Emily says she's going to go do something, and Lorelai and the nurse are talking, and the nurse is like, well, you can't do that. And Laura's like, well, you can either let her do that, or you can stay here and keep getting yelled at by her.
Right.
And Jane Lynch is finally like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. Love it.
It's Emily, I think, is standing there, and she's like, everybody keeps going through these doors, and, I don't, nobody's coming back out. And Lorelai's like, well, let's just go through the doors. Yeah. And Emily's like, you can just do that? It's those rules that Lorelai is willing to break, but Emily is like, there's a certain protocol you're supposed to follow, and she's not willing to do that, or doesn't think you can do that.
Yeah.
So Lorelai shows her how to break the protocol.
Which is perfect. So yeah. And then at one point her mom thinks that Lorelai and Luke are dating.
Yes.
And yeah.
And I think that at this point I was like, they clearly like each other.
Oh yeah, the chemistry. Like, I think her mom picked up on the vibe. If nothing else, how much Luke cares for Lorelai.
Yes. And that he was willing to
drop everything,
get there,
close his business.
Yes. And yeah. It turns out Richard is fine. He has angina. He's not going to die.
Yes.
But Luke takes Rory home, and Lorelai stays with Emily. And I put it here in my notes that Emily always seems surprised when Lorelai is a decent human being.
She does.
And I'm like, why is she so surprised by that?
Well, I think they both just think the worst about each other. I think Lorelai is also surprised when her mom does something that she agrees with. Like, they just expect that they, like we said, they don't see that they are very similar.
Similar, yeah. So this is also the episode where Lorelai gets Luke a gift, and it's a blue hat.
Yes.
And he wears it for forever after
Yes,
this.
I know. I wrote that down too, that she gives him the blue hat. So, yes, so sweet. So, yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, they're watching the Christmas pageant, like the procession with all the lights off, and Luke and Lorelai are standing together. And I really thought this is going to be the start of their romance.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't.
That's okay. It's okay. So
we go into episode 11.
Paris is burning. And I hate and love this episode at the same time.
What makes you hate and love it?
So, okay. So the story of this is that it's like Parents' Day, right? At the school. And I love how Emily knows and Lorelai doesn't. And she's all smug about it. Like, well, I read the newsletter. And then Laura's like, well, I'm not going to be able to go. And she's like, oh, well, then I'll go. And she's like, never mind. I will be there. Like, you know? And so what was hard for me to watch this because Rory starts talking about Max and like Lorelai's like, oh, she's getting attached. And that kind of freaks her out. And she's like, decides she wants to end things, you know, like and that was me forever. Like I used to think I'm never actually going to fall in love because every time like I liked someone, as soon as they liked me back, like I just was like freak out and be like, okay, I'm not interested anymore. And I really do think now that was anxiety. That was just one way that my anxiety came up, that I would spiral into feeling like this pressure, like
or you were pushing them away before they pushed you away,
or that I was like, I didn't want to have, like thinking like, what if I want out of this situation and then it's going to be hard to end things or whatever. Like, it's just like, I would just go running for the hills. And so, until I met my husband, and then it was not like that. And then again, when I met my ex-boyfriend, it was not like that. I did have both of them. I had a moment at one point, but I was able to like work through it, and like kind of talk through it and kind of like, okay, these feelings it's a beginning of something. These are normal feelings. Like you're not agreeing to marry this person today. Like you're agreeing to go out with them, like, you know, that sort of thing. But anyway, so that part was hard to watch and to watch. I was just like, oh my gosh. And part of me was like, that could be me, like as an adult. And thankfully, at least so far, it hasn't been to that degree. So that, and then as a teacher, no kissing in school among the adults. Like, no kissing in school. Like, I'm sorry, no. Like, no.
And this is Max and Lorelai.
And there's windows, like the doors are
open, like all the things.
No.
So they kiss, and Paris sees, right?
Yes, because
Paris sees.
Because everyone knows her dad and her mom are going through like a major divorce or something,
messy divorce,
a very messy one, and everyone's talking about it until
this. Yeah, and now Paris lets it loose that Mr. Medina and Rory Gilmore's mom are together, and it's
it's bad.
I felt bad because I understand Paris.
Yes.
Because she didn't want people talking about her family anymore. But at the same time, it's like, okay, now you're just throwing someone else under the bus just to get yourself out of it. But I can understand her perspective of not wanting to be
the
one that they're talking about.
Oh, of course. I think that because Paris in a lot of ways is more mature and she's not a typical teenager. And I feel like this is one of the most this is the first most typical teenager thing that we've seen her do, actually.
But I think a lot of her having to be mature is
because of her family.
The situations that her parents put her in, because
100%.
She has to be the adult.
100%.
So I felt very sorry for her, because you see her, like you said, as a real teenager, but you also see her pain and her hurt and not wanting this. But all of this results in Emily hearing about the kiss.
Of course.
Which does not go over well.
Nope. Because she's besties with the headmaster's wife. So this is great, you know.
And this is like the end of the world for her because it's a scandal.
Yep.
And her daughter has already caused a scandal. She doesn't need another scandal.
Yep.
And she feels like she's ruining this for Rory.
Mm-hmm. And then ultimately, Max does call things off. And the thing is, when they first started dating, I'm like, he's her daughter's teacher. There is no way the school would have been okay with that. I don't see it it'd be different if they were already dating and it was disclosed and then she became his student. They would probably rearrange her in some way. But this, no. And so I get it. I'm actually like, he kind of is lucky they didn't fire him over this, honestly. So then Lorelai gets, like, she wanted to end things and then changed her mind and then now got what she originally thought she wanted, and it sucks. So,
It
yeah.
does.
It does.
And Rory does tell Paris, like, if you want to talk about any of this, you can. And Paris is like, I doubt it. But I feel like you see Rory
still being a good person despite
being a good person.
Paris did.
Yeah. And she wants to say, you know, you don't really have people to talk to about this. Maybe I can be an independent person, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really nice of her.
Because her friends are very, like, I mean, at this point, they're still smart, but they're also vapid. And they're not like, they don't
have a lot of depth.
No, there's not a deep connection where they wouldn't want to hear about this stuff except from a gossip perspective, not from a, like, how can I be your friend perspective.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then this is also the episode where Suki asks Jackson on a date.
She does. It's so cute.
I love it.
I do too. I do too. Which then transitions to episode 12, Double Date, which is, there's 2 double dates on this one.
Yes. And I absolutely love Cousin Rune.
You do. You really do.
I think he's one of my favorite characters because he's so just a curmudgeon.
He really is. He really is.
And so they end up going on a double date because Suki is nervous.
Yes. She is. Well, and then she was like, he still hasn't asked me out. And Lorelai's like, yeah, but you asked him out. Like, you know, so they set it up. And Suki's too afraid to go by herself. And I think this episode demonstrates why a first date should never be a double date. I'm just saying.
Especially with your best friend, because
you're going to rely on them more.
Yeah. And Suki and Lorelai are just talking to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Lorelai keeps trying to go like steer the conversation, and Suki's just
she's not
back to Lorelai.
Right. No, I agree. And oh my gosh, but you're right. So Rune and Jackson show up, and I guess you love Rune's reaction to Lorelai.
She's too tall. He doesn't like her because she's too tall. And I'm like, she's not an exceedingly tall woman that I know of.
No, but he is
but he's
short.
A short man.
He's a short man.
And
he is.
Yeah. He's like, you didn't say she was so tall. And I'm like, the first things that come out of his mouth are about her appearance, which it makes me laugh. Because I think she's a beautiful person.
Well, and so funny to watch that too, because you're looking at him and you're like, this guy that you're like,
attractive.
Yeah, he's not a catch. And then this catch, he's like, ugh. But I kind of love that because I think that it is such a good point.
Such a man thing to do.
Well, it's such a man thing to do, but I also think like we forget, like I can see someone be like, oh my gosh, they're so gorgeous. And then I could ask like my ex-husband and people like, no, I'm like Cameron Diaz. He could not stand Cameron Diaz. And I'm like, but she's so pretty. She's so cute. And he's like, ugh. And so it's funny, like we all have different tastes. So we're all like Lorelai, yes. But I guess there are some people, but we would think a guy like him would feel like he's lucky to have her, which maybe that's a bad perspective that we shouldn't have. But it is funny. He's like, nope, not here for this.
And I put down that Lorelai orders her first martini of the show.
Ooh.
Because I had been watching for that because she had had gotten white wine at her parents' house. And I was like, wait, that's not her usual order. But she does get a martini here. And then we also have Lane and Rory going on a double date with one of Dean's friends.
Yes.
And this turns out bad.
It turns out so bad. And like the first thing that I wrote in my notes is, why is Dean friends with Todd?
Yeah,
Like, why
I
are
don't
they
know.
friends? They do not seem to. I mean, was it that they did shop or something
Yes,
together?
I
So
think
maybe it's
it
like
was
a
tangential, like
it was
a
like a
weird friendship, like more of an
like
acquaintanceship.
yeah, like a we're in class together, so we're gonna chat while we're doing what we're doing. Because yeah, like oh my gosh, it was a disaster. Especially
And
like
Lane likes him because of like his taste in music and things like that. And then she finds out he's wearing a Fugazi shirt because he likes the picture,
yes,
not because of the music.
yes,
And for her, that's like death nail.
it is. Especially because like what was it? 2 episodes ago, she's touching a different guy's hair.
Yes.
Like, and then now we've got Todd. Now Todd's her soulmate, and then it turns out he's not. And what I love is, isn't it at the end, like we find out that Todd actually likes Lane now, and Lane's like not
Yes.
interested.
At all.
No. But so what I think also was funny, going back to like the double date with
Hmm.
Lorelai and Suki. Like Suki picks this really fancy place because she's a chef and she's like, we should
Yes.
do this. And it's not her
Not them
personality. It's
at
not
all.
them. And then you have Rune and like you said, Suki's only talking to Lorelai and it's just bad. And then thankfully Lorelai does save the day by like suggesting they go somewhere else
Yes.
and then manages to get Rune to does he like go home or something? Like he doesn't
I
go
think he
with her
gets mad
and
and
like leaves.
leaves. Yeah.
Which is great. So then they can go to Luke's and they can sit over there. She can go chat with Luke. And,
Yes.
but yeah,
So then it turns into a different type of double date.
it
If you're
does. It
thinking
does.
about it.
If you're thinking about it, yes, it does. I think that we will count that even if they don't.
Yes. And I love it.
Yeah.
And Luke does say, maybe we can. And then Mrs. Kim walks by and she walks in.
Because she
And
didn't know that Lane was on a date.
yes. And so then things go down, but Luke doesn't get to ask his question of maybe we can go on a
Nope.
date
Nope.
because you could see that's what he's formulating and where he's getting to, and then
Yeah.
doesn't get it.
No. No. And
So
I guess
sad.
that's basically well. Then Lorelai is pissed at Rory because she does not want
Didn't
to be in a position
tell.
to. Yeah,
Yes.
like
So Lorelai tells Mrs. Kim that they're on a date,
yeah,
and Mrs. Kim is like, "What?" and gets very upset and thinks that Rory is leading her daughter down the wrong path. And Lorelai is like, I could help with this if I knew some information, but she's like, I don't want to lie to another parent too.
right,
Like, I'm not going to do that.
right.
And
So
I thought it was funny that both Mrs. Kim and Lorelai agree they don't want their daughters to be 16 and pregnant.
they found
So,
a commonality.
yep.
Yep, that was good. That was good. But yeah, so then we go on to the next one,
Hold
which
on one
I'm actually
second.
right because it's episode 13 is Concerta Interruptus, and this is what's interesting. Is that Lane is not grounded in this, but she also can't go because after that situation, Lorelai's like, "No, I'm not lying to your mom."
Yes.
So yes, this is where we got the rummage sale, and we get the Lorelai is wanting to keep all the things that show up in the house, and then she
Which
finds
seems very Lorelai.
seems very Lorelai, and then she finds this jacket that she puts on and loves it, and I'm like, first of all, watching it, I was like, this is not a Lorelai jacket, but
Mm-mm.
after we later meet Rachel, it totally looks like something Rachel would wear. So
Yes.
the whoever did the wardrobe did a good job because I could totally
Hmm.
see Rachel in that. But yeah, so she gets that, she's wearing it, and Luke freaks out.
Like, freaks out.
Yeah. And that's when we first hear about Rachel because this is what I don't get. Lorelai has
Yes.
lived in Stars Hollow
For a
all these years.
long time.
So how does she not know about Rachel?
That is a good question. And it
Because it seems
brought
like
up
it
a whole
wasn't
bunch of things.
like
Like,
it does not seem like it was would have been that long ago.
mhm.
Like maybe only a couple of
A
years.
couple of years, maybe,
Yeah.
tops. And I was like, was Luke not?
No, because they talk about
And
how was at all of Rory's like younger birthday parties and stuff at
yeah,
some point. This is where we've got a
it
continuity
doesn't
issue.
mash up.
No.
But
So
Rachel is Luke's ex,
mm-hmm.
and she's a photographer, and she had left to go do photography.
Yes, to travel the world.
And left Luke behind, basically.
Yes.
And
but so this is the thing. If he donated all these clothes to the rummage sale,
then he
would
knows
know
that someone is going to get it.
someone's going to get it. I'm like, if you have clothes of hers that you don't ever want to see, throw them in the trash. Like, you sent them, and it's one of them. It's sparkly. Do you not know Lorelai? Like a moth to the flame.
She's
like,
a parrot.
Yes.
Something sparkly. She's going to go for it.
Yeah. So I'm like, what is happening? So that's one minor part of this. Then we also have the part that, what was this where they were making a government at school?
So they had to come and make up their own government, and Tristan, Rory, Paris, and then Louise and Madeline are all in the same group together. And they're trying to find a place to do this group project, and they decide to go to Rory's house,
yeah,
which is set up for the rummage sale, so there's just stuff everywhere.
And so so they come over, and they're there, and they happen to have was it Suki had gotten tickets to the Bengals. And gotten 4, so one for her and Lorelai, one for Lane and Rory, but Lane cannot go because,
of course, she can't go to a rock concert.
Because Lorelai's not gonna lie for her, and and it's in New York City, so she's really not gonna lie for her. But then Lorelai gets this idea, and they're like, what are they? They're like really close tickets too, aren't they? Like,
yes, they're like second row or something like that. Really good tickets.
So this whole part where she like offers to Rory, like, why don't the 4 of you go and we'll just get some other tickets? I'm like, those girls are not going to appreciate this concert. Like,
they will not.
No, like, absolutely not. Like, do not give up second row tickets to the Bengals. Like, that was stupid. Anyway. Yeah.
I don't know how that all in her head was going to go down.
No.
Because I don't think that they really appreciated the Bengals either. They were like,
no.
Who is this?
Right.
Which, yes, you can go to a concert and enjoy it and all that. But I think she was really trying to get Rory to have some friends at her new school.
Yeah.
I think was really the crux of it.
Of course. But she's heard of her talk about Louise and Madeline. Like,
yes.
And Paris.
But she does invite them, and they all agree to go. And so they go to this concert, and Lorelai and Suki are way high up in the rafters.
Yeah.
And Rory and the other girls are close up, and there's college kids behind them. And Louise and Madeline decide, we're going to go with these college boys to their college party that's around the corner. And Paris and Rory are like, no, you can't do that.
But they do. Go. Yeah. And so then we get to see Lorelai in mom mode.
Which this is a first.
It is.
Because, I mean, we saw her a little bit in the last episode.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I am a mom, and I'm not going to lie to another mom.
Yeah.
But this is like, get your shit, we're going.
Yes,
kind of
absolutely.
Mom. Like, these are minor teenagers, and you have invited them into your apartment and your party, and probably giving them alcohol. This is not okay to do.
Didn't they have solo cups? They're like,
yes, they had solo cups, and I think she was like, oh, this, clearly isn't water,
Yeah.
But yeah.
So she's in mom mode.
It did not turn out well for Madeline.
No. And what I do
Louise.
appreciate about this is that, some kids would be really embarrassed. Rory was annoyed with these girls, so she's not embarrassed at all that her mom's doing this. And what cracks me up is that at the end, Paris is like, this is the best night I've ever had, or something like that. And it's like,
the thing
Paris.
That broke my heart about Paris, though, she said, I wonder if I was missing, if my mom would come look for me. And I was oh, Paris. Like, would her mom even notice that she was gone?
I don't think we ever actually meet. There's like a scene in the school where, like, at one point we think we see like a mom like yelling at her, but we never actually have the character introduced, I don't think.
I feel like maybe it's on Parents' Day.
I don't think we get to meet her. No, because on Parents' Day, her parents aren't there because they're going through the divorce.
we meet her mom at some point.
I don't think
and
we do.
she
I think we
yells at
see
her.
her. I think we see her, but I don't think we
Okay.
actually talk to her. I think, you know what it is? I bet it's the mother-daughter fashion show at the end.
Yes.
But I think we don't actually get to meet her mom. She's just yelling there. Anyway, we'll see. When we get there, we'll see. We'll remind ourselves. I'm probably wrong. All right, so now we got to go on our last episode that we're going to talk about today. Episode 14, That Damn Donna Reed. And I got to tell you what my first thought was watching the beginning. I'm like, why don't we watch old shows on mute and create our own dialogue?
It felt
sounds
very
fun.
Mystery Science Theater 3000. Have you ever watched Mystery Science Theater?
Do they do that?
So this is an older show. It was popular in the 90s, I know, that maybe even before that. But it is supposed to be some guy from Earth that has been transported to outer space, and he's being kept prisoner, and it's him and like 3 robots, and they're being forced to watch old horrible movies, like campy movies. And so they come up with their own dialogue. And the show is they show the movie, but then they show them in the front row watching the movie and making fun of it, basically.
Okay.
Which it's really funny. I may not be selling it, but it is really funny. And it reminded me very much of this.
But yeah, that was so funny. I was like, that looks like something fun that like I would like to do with my friends. Like, anyway, but I will
Which
say,
I've never watched Donna Reed either.
Okay, I have. When I first got a Roku, it came with all those like free different things. And so there were like the different channels built in. So this was years ago, like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. So then I'm like, I'm doing this. There was one where it had all these old shows, and that was one of them. So I watched like a couple of episodes, but this was such a long time ago. But so they're watching this, they're making fun of it. Dean is there, and Dean says something that threw them all off. Like, he's like, well, what if she does like to do those things? And they're just like aghast. And you know what? Here we go. I got my Taylor Swift connection for you here, Leyna.
You do have a Taylor Swift connection for everything.
I do. So I actually agree with Dean because the point of feminism is not to take all women out of the house. It's for women to have the same options.
To have the
choice.
So
if a woman wants to be a stay-at-home mom and cook for their family and have the financial means to do so, more power to them. That's not anti-feminist. That is still feminism. So a lot of the backlash that I've heard, some of the backlash from Taylor Swift's new album, is that there is a song called Wish List in which she talks about how her relationship, which is with Travis, who she's engaged to, is making her want to have a driveway with like a basketball hoop and a neighborhood full of kids that look just like him. And people are saying that's anti-feminist. And I'm like, it's not, though. It's not anti-feminist. Like,
I think people have gone into their heads
too
and
far.
think that to be a feminist, you have to be, a bra burning,
right?
Man hater. That's not the case. It's about choice and about having equality and
right. One I will say too about
I felt the same thing about the Barbie movie.
Yeah,
I felt like that was over the top.
Yeah,
and
went too far.
I know a lot of people loved the Barbie movie, and for me, it was like, okay, why are we hating on Ken? Like, can't we?
Yeah,
like I understand.
You understood the point.
The point, but then they put Ken back in the box, and then it felt like they went too much the opposite way. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, so she also in at least one interview, Taylor Swift got asked if this was like going to be her final album or like for a while or something. And she was like, why? Like, well, you're getting married and starting a family. And she's like, that's so insulting to say that I can't have both, like that I can't write music and get married and have a family.
Yeah.
And I was like, that also, like, I think that's, again, they're like saying, like, people are trying to put her in a box and she's just trying to live her life. And so I did really appreciate Dean in that moment because, they did not appreciate that to the point that Rory decides to dress up as Donna Reed while is it the kitten? She's babysitting the kitten.
Yes, she's babysitting the kitten. that their neighbors have just gotten.
After they had the cat funeral, remember? So now we've got a new
kitten. So they
kitten.
have a new kitten, and she dresses up as Donna Reed and makes dinner. And like she is in pearls, big fancy dress, like the whole nine. And it is just hilarious.
Yes. Yes, it is. And it was very entertaining, all of that. Yes. And I mean, and then the other side plot, I forgot about this one, that they're going to paint Luke's. So Lorelai's bit in this is she thinks Luke's needs a refresh. She's going to help, and she forgets to show up.
Yes, and it is like hard to get him to agree to do this.
Yes.
Finally, she does get him to agree, and then she bails. And there's also a moment where they're reminiscing about his dad in the hardware store and about what to keep and why to keep it versus painting over and all this other stuff.
Right.
And they look like they're about to kiss. And the town council shows up.
Of course.
And then they kind of go their separate ways. So,
of course. But yeah, but then when they do paint, or when he paints it or whatever, whatever, it's the same color.
Yes.
It's not any different.
It's not any different. And it has a little bit of a refresh, but it's more of just like a repainting.
Yeah, of the exact same color.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't even know.
And Rory during this episode has a bird that is at the house.
Oh, yes, from school, right?
She has a bird from the school that she has to keep, Stella.
Is it a chick? It's a chick.
Is it a chick? Maybe it is. I'm like, it's some sort of bird.
Because she's watching the kitten and cooking for Dean, and then Lorelai loses the chick.
Yes,
that's right.
And calls Luke to come help her find it.
And he's not sure if this is a booty call or if she really has a lost chick.
And there's some question about that. And then it's funny because he's over at the house. Dean is across the street or right next door.
It's kind of a weird layout.
Of where the houses are. And Luke comes out and Dean comes out at the same time. And they're like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
It's very awkward. And then Rory and Lorelai come out.
Yes.
And Lorelai is like, what are you wearing? Yes. What is going on here?
Yeah. It was great. It was so great. But
and then they talk about Rory has lost Apricot the kitten.
Yes.
And Lorelai has lost Stella the bird. So they're like, we're not animal people.
Nope, they're not. They really aren't. So yeah,
and this episode ends.
Well, before that, I want to say there's a part where they're at Richard and Emily's, and they're so excited that someone died in Martha's Vineyards because they're thinking about buying the house. Because they didn't rent their house in time. So then we'll buy one. And then this person died, and they're so excited that he died.
Like, oh, yes.
Yes. But back to what you were saying, the episode ends with
Christopher showing up. And Christopher is Rory's dad. And this is where Luke is at the diner waiting for Lorelai to show up.
Oh, that's what it was, yes.
And Christopher shows up, and she forgets about everything that she has committed to doing.
And that is the cliffhanger we will leave y'all on for now with Gilmore Girls.
For going into the next month, we'll do an episode with the final 7 episodes of season 1, because this is just season 1. That's what blows my mind.
I know.
So much happens, and there's 21 episodes, and it's just bananas.
And it's such a good show.
Yes.
So, yep. I love it. But anyway.
It's very good.
But next week, I think we're talking about R.L. Stine, maybe Christopher Pike books if we can find any.
And I have to say, I have gone to Half Price Books, and none of the R.L. Stine books that I wanted to get were there. I haven't been able to find anything. So
this is ridiculous.
I'm a little bit flummoxed.
Yeah, we're gonna figure this out.
We'll figure it out.
If not, we're going to be reading blurbs online from the old ones and be like, oh, yeah, I read that one. Oh, yeah, I read that one. Or something.
We got to come up with something.
We'll come up with something. It'll be fun.
We can talk about 90s books and TV shows, because there was Tales from the Crypt.
I guess we could. Yeah, some series. Did you watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, yes. We can talk
We can
about
pull
stuff.
it in. We got this.
Yeah.
We got this.
We got this.
All right.
All right, friends. Well, we will see you next time for more of More Than a Book Club podcast.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
So thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.